officially letting Hazel go from the roster. Hazel E, you are too old to be acting this young. We're done.
Hazel E wasn't supposed to speak. She wasn't supposed to say a word about what happened that night. The night Chrisean Rock showed up at her door, shaking, crying, and rambling so fast Hazel could barely keep up. But Hazel always knew the truth wasn't going to stay buried forever. Not when Blueface kept pushing boundaries, not when Chrisean's life kept spiraling out of control, and not when the lies around her started choking every relationship tied to her name. And now, after everything that's happened in the last few months, the fights, the break-ins, the live arguments, the disappearances, the street drama, Hazel E finally broke her silence. Because Chrisean Rock didn't just come to her crying, she came to her warning her. Hazel described it like this. It was 2 a.m. I heard banging, and when I opened the door, Rock looked like she had seen something she wasn't supposed to see, like she was running from something, or someone. Hazel says Chrisean pushed past her, locked the door, and kept repeating the same thing over and over. You gotta watch Blue. You gotta watch him. He not who you think he is. Hazel didn't understand. At first, she thought Chrisean was just emotional, overwhelmed, maybe even intoxicated. But she wasn't. Her eyes were clear. Her hands were shaking. Her voice wasn't loud, it was terrified. Then Chrisean told her something so shocking Hazel sat down on the floor just to breathe. Something about Blueface that Hazel says she had never heard before. Something that made her rethink every argument, every rumor, every chaotic moment that surrounded him. Something that made Hazel realize Chrisean wasn't jealous. She wasn't obsessed. She wasn't dramatic. She was warning her. And the wildest part? Hazel says Blueface had already been watching Chrisean before she even got there. Someone tipped him off. Someone told him Chrisean was running her mouth. Someone told him she was exposing something she promised she'd never say. And Hazel says that night wasn't a reunion. It was a confession. A confession that tied Blueface, Chrisean, and Hazel into one dangerous truth. And Hazel says if she didn't speak now, the truth would eat her alive. Hazel E had always watched Chrisean Rock from a distance, part admiration, part confusion, part dread. Because every time Chrisean stepped into a room, chaos followed close behind her like a shadow she couldn't shake. Hazel used to think it was immaturity or attention or just reality TV energy. But something in her gut always whispered, there's more to that girl. Something darker. Something she carries behind the laughs and the punches and the late-night lives. But Hazel never expected that she would become part of that darkness. Not until the night Chrisean banged on her door looking like she'd run from hell itself. Hazel had been in pajamas, her hair half-tied. The apartment lights dimmed, a normal, quiet night. But the pounding at the door wasn't normal. It wasn't a knock. It was frantic, desperate, like someone trying to escape a nightmare that was following her up the stairs. When Hazel opened the door and saw Chrisean, everything inside her froze. Her hoodie was dirty. Her braids were messy. Her hands were scraped. Her knees were bruised like she'd fallen on concrete, and her breath, shallow, trembling, fast, came out like she had sprinted miles with fear biting at her ankles. Hazel whispered, Rock, what happened? But Chrisean didn't answer. She shoved her way inside, slammed the door behind her, locked every lock Hazel had, and pressed her back against it like she expected someone to kick it in. Only then did she whisper, voice cracking, I know. Hazel blinked. Who? What are you talking about? Chrisean shook her head hard, pacing the room, her hand gripping her forehead so tight it looked like she was holding her skull together. Then she said it again, this time louder, more frantic. I know, Hazel. I wasn't supposed to find out. Hazel stepped closer. Find out what? And that's when Chrisean finally stopped pacing. She looked Hazel dead in the eyes, with a fear so raw, so naked, so real. Hazel felt the whole air in the room go cold. It's Blue. He been watching us. Watching everybody. Watching you. He know everything. Hazel's heart dropped into her stomach. What do you mean he knows everything? Rock, slow down. But Chrisean wasn't slowing down. Not tonight. Not with the amount of fear pumping through her veins. She whispered. Somebody told him something I said. Something I wasn't supposed to repeat. Something he thought I was gone, take to the grave. Hazel's mind raced. What did you tell? Who did you tell? Chrisean flinched. I told the wrong person something he did. Something he made me promise not to say. Something from before all the mess y'all seen online. Hazel tried to calm her. Rock, Blue been doing wild stuff forever. Half of it already online. What could be so bad? But Chrisean just stared at her. And Hazel realized this wasn't the usual drama. This wasn't Blueface cheating. This wasn't baby mama arguments. This wasn't a fight caught on live. This wasn't a hidden phone or a money dispute. This was something else. Something heavy. Something tied to a past no cameras had ever seen. Finally, Chrisean whispered, "You don't know who he owes, Hazel. You don't know who watching him. You don't know what type of deals he made before he got famous." Hazel stepped back. "Deals? Owes? Watching him? What deals, Rock?" Chrisean shook her head again, tears forming at the corners of her eyes. "He told me stuff. Stuff when we was good. Stuff when he trusted me. Stuff he never told Jaden. Never told his mama. Never told nobody. Stuff from way back before the fame." Hazel felt her entire spine ice over. "What did you find out?" Chrisean swallowed hard. "That he ain't scared of police. But he's scared of certain people. Certain dudes from his past. And he said if any of that old stuff ever came out, it would ruin everything. His career. His family. His freedom." Hazel felt sick. "Rock, why are you telling me this?" Chrisean whispered. "Because Blue thinks you know now, and I didn't want you blindsided." Hazel's voice cracked. "Me? How would I know anything?" Chrisean wiped her nose with the sleeve of her hoodie. "Because I said your name when I shouldn't have." Hazel felt her heart stop beating for a moment. She whispered, "Rock, what did you tell him about me?" Chrisean bit her lip hard enough to bleed. "I told someone you asked me about him. I told someone you said he was acting weird backstage that one time. I didn't mean it like that. I wasn't thinking. I was just talking. But they told Blue." Hazel blinked rapidly, processing the words, the fear, the weight. "Blue thinks I'm investigating him." Chrisean nodded slowly. "He think you know more than you supposed to. He think you finding out stuff. He think you talking to people you not supposed to talk to." Hazel stumbled back onto the couch. This wasn't a petty fight. This wasn't leftover beef from old seasons. This wasn't jealousy, bitterness, or some messy cast drama. This was a war she didn't even know she was in. Hazel whispered, "Rock, why are you really here? What scared you so bad you ran all the way to me?" And that's when Chrisean said the sentence that changed everything. Because Blue not just mad, he paranoid. And he told somebody, if Hazel or Rock talk again, it's a wrap. Hazel felt every hair on her arms rise. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. "Rock, you need to tell me everything, right now." Chrisean collapsed onto the floor, crying, shaking, breathless like she'd been holding this truth in her chest for months, and tonight it finally cracked open. And what she confessed next was darker than anything Hazel ever imagined. Hazel E. had never seen Chrisean Rock cry like that. Not the messy Zeus cries, not the drunk lives, not the performative breakdowns. This was different. This was a woman carrying a secret she was never meant to hold. A secret too heavy for her chest, too dangerous for her mind, too explosive for anyone to handle alone. Hazel knelt down beside her. "Rock, what did you get yourself into?" Chrisean pulled her knees to her chest, shaking. "I ain't mean to. I ain't mean to get dragged in this. It was an accident. But once you know something, you can't unknow it." Her voice cracked so deeply Hazel felt it like a vibration through the floor. "Tell me what you know," Hazel whispered. "Tell me what Blue did." Chrisean wiped her face, trying to steady her breathing. "It's not what he did recently. It's something he did before he ever met me." Hazel frowned. "Before you? Before Jaden? Before fame?" Chrisean nodded slowly, and Hazel felt a sinking, icy dread crawl up her spine. Because the older the secret, the darker the truth. "Rock, what did he tell you?" Chrisean leaned back against the wall, staring at the ceiling, like if she tried to look Hazel in the eyes, she'd break again. It wasn't supposed to be a confession. He didn't even say it sober. He said it one night when he was high and paranoid, and he thought someone outside his house was watching him. "He told me to stay off my phone, turn the lights off, don't make noise." He was pacing back and forth, and then he said it. Hazel's heart thumped hard in her chest. "Said what?" Chrisean closed her eyes. "That he got into something years ago. Deep. Something that involved a dude who ain't around no more." Hazel blinked. "A dude who moved away." Chrisean shook her head. "A dude who disappeared." Hazel's breath hitched. "Disappeared how?" "Gone," Chrisean whispered. "Like, actually gone." Hazel's mouth dried out. "Rock, are you saying he—" But Chrisean cut her off with one slow shake of the head. "I don't know exactly, Hazel. He never said he did anything. He never said he hurt nobody. But he said He was involved in something the streets don't forget. Something that got cleaned up. Something that only 3 people alive know about. Hazel grabbed her own chest. Rock, what did you find out? Chrisean looked at her with trembling eyes. I found out who the third person is. Hazel froze. The third person? Chrisean nodded. And that's why he watching everybody. Hazel swallowed hard. Rock, who is the third person? Chrisean hesitated. Because speaking a name tied to a dark past feels like opening a locked door. Finally, she whispered. A woman. Someone he used to be close to. Way before Jaden. Way before everything. Someone he trusted too much. Hazel leaned forward. Who? Someone we know? Chrisean breathed in sharply, nodding. You know her. Everybody know her. She not famous. But she's street famous. She used to be with his people before the music. She, the one that convinced him to keep his mouth shut the first time he panicked. She, the one who told him how to clean up everything. She, the one who made him swear on something he could never break. Hazel's eyes widened. You're telling me Blueface is scared of her? Chrisean nodded violently. That's why he don't act scared of nobody else. He's scared of one woman, and she's still around. Not in his life, but she watching. Hazel whispered. Who is she? What's her name? Chrisean's whole body stiffened. I can't say her name. Not out loud. She dangerous. She hear everything. She got people everywhere. Hazel's skin prickled with goosebumps. But what does this have to do with me? She asked softly. Chrisean swallowed. Because she thinks you know about her. Hazel felt everything inside her collapse. Me? What do I have to do with this old street stuff? Chrisean's voice shook. It happened because of a rumor. A stupid rumor someone started online saying you and Blue had some history, some flirtation. She saw that. She thought you was close. She thought he might have told you something by accident. And Blue, when he got paranoid, he told somebody there were 2 people he worried about talking. Hazel blinked. 2 people? Me, Chrisean whispered. And you? Hazel's face went blank. And that's why you came running to me? Because Blue ain't scared of you exposing him, Hazel. He's scared you'll expose her. Hazel backed up, her hands trembling. Rock, this is insane. You're telling me a woman from Blue's past, someone from years ago, is watching both of us? Chrisean nodded. She watching everyone who ever got close to him. She told him, if the past ever gets exposed, she'll handle it. Hazel's lungs felt tight. Handle it? How? Chrisean met her eyes. You know how. Hazel froze in place. Rock, she whispered. Are you saying Blue is being controlled by somebody? Chrisean didn't speak. She didn't move. She didn't blink. She just looked at Hazel with the kind of expression you only see from someone who has heard a truth too dangerous to repeat. Finally, she whispered. All I know is, she's still around. She's still powerful. And she's still checking up on him. And Blue told me if her name ever gets brought up publicly, everything falls apart. Everything. Hazel covered her mouth, shaking. Rock, please tell me you didn't say anything to anyone about this. Chrisean hesitated. And that hesitation was louder than any confession. Rock, Hazel said, voice breaking. Who did you tell? Chrisean's head dropped. I told someone who wasn't supposed to hear it. Who? Chrisean whispered. A girl from my side. Someone I thought I could trust. Someone who wanted to know why Blue been moving weird. Hazel felt her stomach twist. And she told somebody else, Chrisean whispered. And somebody told Blue. And Blue told her. Hazel staggered back like she'd been slapped. Rock, you started a chain reaction. Chrisean nodded with tears streaming down her face. That's why I came here. They watching me. They watching you. And Blue? He looking over his shoulder at both of us. Hazel whispered. What happens now? Chrisean looked at her. What happens now is, her people gonna try to figure out who knows the truth. And they don't ask politely. Hazel collapsed into a chair, panic filling her veins. Rock, tell me one thing, she whispered. What is this woman capable of? Chrisean looked at the floor. Everything. Hazel's entire face drained of color. Rock, what exactly did Blue say would happen if we ever talked? Chrisean hesitated again, then whispered the sentence that shattered Hazel's world. He said, if they talk, we'll bury it. Hazel felt a cold wave run through her chest. Bury what, Rock? The secret? Chrisean didn't answer. Hazel leaned closer. Rock? Bury what? Chrisean looked up slowly, eyes swollen, voice barely a whisper. Not the secret. Us. Hazel felt her entire body go numb. And she knew, this wasn't drama. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't reality TV mess. This was survival. Hazel sat frozen on her couch, staring at Chrisean like she was looking at a ghost that walked into her home with a prophecy. The air felt thick, heavy, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. Everything Chrisean said replayed in Hazel's mind like a looping nightmare. If they talk, we'll bury it, Hazel whispered. He wouldn't. Rock, Blue wouldn't do something like that. Chrisean didn't look convinced. She didn't defend him. She didn't argue. She didn't soften the truth. Instead, she said, "You don't know what he's scared of, Hazel. It ain't about you. It ain't about me. It's about her." Hazel felt her stomach tighten. "Who is she, Rock?" Chrisean rubbed her face, breathing hard. "She ain't famous, but she powerful. Like, when she walk in a room, dudes twice her size shut up. She's smart. She connected. The only person Blue ever said he owed." Hazel blinked in disbelief. Owed? What does that even mean? Owed what? Chrisean shook her head. "He never told me the full story. Just said she saved him from something serious, something that could have ended him before he ever blew up. She kept him safe, but she made him promise that if she ever needed something, he'd be there. And Blue, he don't play about his word. Especially to her." Hazel whispered. "So he's loyal to her?" Chrisean looked Hazel dead in the eyes. "He's scared of her." Hazel's stomach flipped. "But what does that have to do with us?" Chrisean hugged herself tightly. "That's the part that scared me the most. She'd been watching all the women in his life. Every girl he ever dealt with. Every friend. Every woman he ever DM'd. Every chick who ever said his name." Hazel felt cold. "She watches them? Why?" "Because she gotta make sure none of them know the truth. None of them talk too much. None of them get close enough to figure out what he told me one night." Hazel swallowed. "And what did he tell you?" Chrisean hesitated. Then, "Just that. Something went down years ago. Something involving a man who disappeared. Something the cops couldn't figure out. Something nobody would ever suspect. Something with multiple people involved, one dude, one girl, and Blue." Hazel's breathing got shallow. "And you know the girl?" Chrisean nodded. "And she knows you might know." Hazel's hands shook. "So that's why she's watching me?" Chrisean whispered. "She don't know how much you know. She just know your name came up in a conversation you didn't even ask to be part of." Hazel closed her eyes. "And Blue? He's protecting her?" Chrisean nodded. "More than anybody else. You think he act tough? He act tough with everybody except her. With her? He listen. He jump. He panic." Hazel felt like the room was spinning. "So you're saying Blue got scared we'd talk, and she got scared we'd talk, and now..." Chrisean finished her sentence. "Now both sides watching us." Hazel let out a long, shaky breath. "But how did she find out anything? How did she even get our names?" Chrisean's silence was the answer. Hazel stared at her. No, Rock. Not the girl you told. Not the one you trusted." Chrisean covered her face with both hands. "I ain't know she was connected. I ain't know she knew people who knew her. I thought she was just venting with me." Hazel whispered. "So she told someone. Who told someone? Who told Blue? Who told her?" Chrisean nodded, tears dripping. Hazel's mind raced. "So that woman, the one Blue is scared of, knows our names. Our names." Chrisean whispered. "She said she don't like loose ends." A chill crawled up Hazel's spine. "What does that mean?" Before Chrisean could answer, Hazel's phone lit up on the coffee table. A notification. A DM. From an account Hazel didn't follow. No profile picture. No posts. No followers. Just a username made of random letters. Hazel reached forward slowly, hesitantly, like touching the screen might set off a trap. She clicked the DM. One message. 4 words. "Stay quiet. Stay safe." Hazel's blood ran cold. She dropped the phone like it burned her. Chrisean lunged forward. "Who is it? Who? Let me see." Hazel shook her head violently. No, Rock. This is exactly what you were talking about. This is her people." Chrisean backed away, her breath quickening. Oh my God, Hazel. I'm sorry, this my fault." Hazel held her head. "Rock. How did they get my number? How did they get my IG? How did they know you're here?" Chrisean pressed her back against the wall, terrified. She got eyes everywhere. Hazel's phone buzzed again. Another message. Hazel stared at it in horror. Chrisean whispered, "Don't open it." Hazel opened it. Another 4 words. Worse than the first. "We see you, Hazel. Hazel's hands trembled uncontrollably. What does that mean? Are they watching through my phone? Chrisean covered her mouth. I told you, she watches everybody. Hazel's voice cracked. You told me she watches women in his life. I'm not in his life anymore. Chrisean stared at her. You was. And in her world? That's enough. Hazel's knees gave out, and she dropped to the floor. Rock, what do they want from us? Chrisean stepped closer. They want silence. They want us to forget what we heard. They want the past to stay buried. Hazel looked up at her through tears. But I don't even know the past. That don't matter. It's about what you could find out. Hazel grabbed Chrisean's hands desperately. Rock, please tell me the full story. If they're coming for us over something from years ago, I need to know what we're running from. Chrisean hesitated, the fear on her face turning into something else. Acceptance. She nodded slowly. Okay, I'll tell you. But it's worse than you think. Hazel's breath shook. How much worse? Chrisean swallowed hard, tears returning. Blue told me one night that the man who disappeared, he didn't just disappear. Something happened to him. Hazel's heart stopped. What happened, Rock? Chrisean closed her eyes. He said, he wasn't supposed to die. Hazel clutched her chest. Rock, are you saying? Chrisean finished for her. That's what they're hiding. That's why they're watching us. That's why her name can't be said. Hazel whispered. Rock, how do you know he died? Chrisean opened her eyes, tears pouring. Because Blue told me what they did with him. Hazel felt her entire soul freeze. What did they do? Chrisean leaned in, whispered 5 words that shattered the room. They buried him themselves, Hazel. Hazel screamed, covering her mouth. Chrisean grabbed her. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it. But you asked. You needed to know. Hazel's whole body shook. This isn't some street fight. This is a crime. A real crime. A real cover-up. Chrisean nodded, crying. That's why she don't want us talking. That's why he paranoid. That's why they watching us. Hazel sobbed. What do we do? Chrisean whispered. We run. Hazel looked up at her with pure terror. Rock, run where? Chrisean backed away from the door, staring at it like something might break through any second. I don't know, but we gotta go now. Hazel grabbed her keys with shaking hands. Rock, they said, stay quiet. I can't just pack up. Chrisean cut her off. They watching us right now. I can feel it. Hazel froze. Rock, how do you know? And then Hazel's phone buzzed a 3rd time. A final message. 5 chilling words. We know she's with you. Hazel dropped the phone. Chrisean grabbed her arm. We gotta go. Now. Hazel grabbed her jacket with trembling hands, her heartbeat slamming in her ears like a drum warning her she was running out of time. Chrisean stood by the front door, frozen, eyes wide, chest rising and falling like a panicked child trapped in a grown woman's life. The room felt haunted not by ghosts, but by eyes neither of them could see. Hazel could barely breathe. Rock, who knows you're here? Who told them? Chrisean shook her head violently. No one knows. I didn't tell nobody. I swear I didn't. I came straight here. But Hazel wasn't convinced. Not after the messages. Not after the warnings. Not after feeling someone watching them from the darkness beyond the walls. Someone tipped them off. Someone close. Rock, think. Hazel snapped. Who saw you? Who followed you? Who did you talk to before you came here? Chrisean backed away from the door like Hazel's words were physical blows. I ain't talked to nobody. I didn't tell nobody where I was going. Hazel's voice cracked into desperation. Then how do they know you're with me? The silence after the question felt suffocating. Chrisean blinked, and something shifted in her expression. A realization. A memory she didn't want. A thought she tried to suppress. Hazel saw it instantly. Rock, what aren't you telling me? Chrisean looked away. It's nothing. It's not important. Hazel stepped closer. Rock. Chrisean swallowed. Hazel! There was someone. Someone I ran past. Someone who tried talking to me. Hazel felt her blood run cold. Who? Chrisean hesitated, then whispered. Your neighbor. Hazel froze. She lived in a quiet building. No one yelled. No one fought. No one hung around the lobby. Her neighbors were older, polite, and private. My neighbor what? He was in the hallway when I came in. He saw me. I didn't think nothing of it. Hazel's heart sank. Her neighbor. Calm. Quiet. Always polite. Too polite. He'd always been friendly with Hazel. Always said hello. Always lingered in conversation longer than necessary. Hazel had never questioned it until now. Rock, Hazel whispered. What did he say to you? Chrisean frowned, replaying it in her mind. He said, You okay? I said, I'm good. Then he said, You going to Hazel's? Hazel's skin went numb. He asked you that? Chrisean nodded. I didn't think anything of it. I just said yeah. Hazel felt the room closing in. Her neighbor wasn't nosy. He wasn't friendly. He wasn't harmless. He was watching. Chrisean suddenly grabbed Hazel's wrist. Hazel! What if he's the one? What if he told her people? Before Hazel could respond, a loud knock echoed through the front door. Not a normal knock. A slow, heavy, deliberate knock. Like someone wasn't asking to come in. They were letting you know they already knew you were there. Chrisean's nails dug into Hazel's arm. Oh my God. Hazel. Hazel covered her mouth, shaking violently. Who is that? Chrisean whispered. It's them. The knock came again. Boom, boom, boom. Hazel's phone buzzed. She didn't want to look. She didn't want to see. But her hand lifted, shaking uncontrollably, and picked up the phone. One new message. 5 words. Open the door. Now. Hazel's legs nearly gave out. Rock! What do we do? Chrisean's eyes filled with tears. Don't open it. Hazel, don't you dare open it. Boom. 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 A voice came from behind the door. A woman's voice. Calm. Soft. Too soft. Hazel! Open the door. Hazel collapsed onto the couch, panic squeezing her lungs shut. Chrisean whispered. That's her. That's the woman Blue scared of. The room felt colder. The air felt still. Even the lights seemed dimmer. The woman's voice came again. I know Rock is with you. You can't hide her. Chrisean looked at Hazel, tears streaming. I told you. She watches everything. Hazel whispered back. How did she find us? Chrisean trembled. She didn't find us, Hazel. She found you. Hazel felt her heart stop. She'd been watching you for weeks. Watching who visits you. Watching who you talk to. Watching your building. Watching your neighbors. Hazel stared at the door in horror. The woman outside spoke again, but this time, her tone shifted. Quieter. Colder. Sharper. You girls should have kept your mouths shut. Chrisean sobbed silently. She's here to make sure the past stays buried. Hazel shook her head, tears blurring her vision. No, Rock. We can't die here. We can't. Chrisean grabbed Hazel's face with both hands, her voice cracking. We not dying, but we not safe either. Hazel, listen to me. The woman outside tapped the door lightly, not knocking, just a warning, just a reminder. She was there. She was listening. She wasn't leaving. Hazel whispered. What does she want from us? Chrisean closed her eyes. She wants the truth to stay dead. Hazel grabbed Chrisean's hand. Then what do we do? Chrisean opened her eyes and whispered, We run. Hazel nodded through tears. But how? Chrisean looked around the room, looked at the windows, the balcony, the hallway. Then she pointed toward the back of Hazel's apartment, the fire escape. We climb. Hazel's breath hitched. She'll hear us. She already knows we're leaving, Chrisean whispered. That's why she came alone. Hazel froze. What do you mean? Chrisean's face turned pale. She came alone because she doesn't need help. She's not here to drag us out. Hazel swallowed. Then what is she here for? Chrisean backed away from the door, shaking. She's here to stall us. Because someone else is coming up the stairs. Hazel's phone buzzed again. A final message. Don't run. Hazel dropped the phone, her heart collapsing inside her chest. Chrisean grabbed her wrist, yanking her toward the back door. Hazel, now. And together, shaking, barefoot, breathless, they ran. Not because they had answers, not because they knew where to go, but because they had no choice. And as the two women climbed out onto the fire escape, Hazel glanced back. The doorknob was slowly turning, and the voice whispered one final line through the door. You can run, but I always find what's mine. The city was sleeping, but the danger wasn't. Hazel and Chrisean weren't just running for safety. They were running from a truth powerful enough to break reputations, destroy alliances, and expose a secret that was supposed to stay buried forever. Now they're on the fire escape, breathless, terrified, looking over their shoulders as footsteps echo up the stairs behind Hazel's locked front door. And you, yes, you watching this right now, you're now part of the story too. Because what Hazel and Chrisean uncovered, the woman Blueface fears, the secret from his past, The disappearance nobody ever questioned, the dangerous loyalty he still obeys, is bigger than reality TV, bigger than drama, bigger than any headline the blogs have ever touched. This is a secret with consequences. This is a secret people are willing to protect by any means necessary. This is a secret someone is willing to chase them for. And as Hazel and Chrisean run into the night barefoot, shaking, clutching each other like their lives depend on it, the question now becomes, who will find them first? Blueface? The woman he fears? Or the truth they're trying to escape? But the only way the next part of this story comes out, the only way the next leak drops, the only way we expose who the woman really is through you. Here's what you need to do right now. Hit like so the algorithm pushes this investigation to the top and forces the truth into every corner of the internet. Your like tells the platforms, this story matters, keep it alive. Subscribe because the next update is going to be insane. Hazel and Chrisean didn't just run. They ran to someone unexpected. Someone with their own history with Blueface. Someone who knows the woman's name. And if you're not subscribed, you'll miss when we expose the next piece. Turn on notifications because the next chapter could drop at midnight, at sunrise, or while you're scrolling. And most importantly, comment right now. Who do you think the woman is? Why does Blueface fear her? How deep does this go? And who tipped her off that Hazel and Chrisean were together? Your comments expose patterns. Your comments make silence impossible. Your comments force the truth forward. Because the next episode? It's going to reveal the woman's ID, and why Hazel and Chrisean were never supposed to survive knowing her name.